Oh, hey everybody. Welcome to podcast number 1. Essentially, what this is doing for me is what I'm trying to do is get comfortable with talking. Because right now, I talk every day at work. However, I don't just talk to talk, So my goal is to really just show who I am, what I do, what I hope to achieve. And through that, just grow and continuously grow. For instance, I remember when I was young, like really young, and I would just be comfortable being alone. And in that silence, I was able to think and process to the point of I just got comfortable with that. So I grew up in life just thinking the best thing to do is be alone because that's how you grow. Not realizing that after a while, I got older. Growth is through relationship. It's people being able to see your faults and you making that choice to be able to either change those things or not change them. And I've learned to learn as I go. Up until the point of literally, I'm getting married in less than 2 weeks, and I still have this infatuation with growth. And at the same time, solitude. At this point, me and my fiance have a new apartment, but I'm here in my old apartment in Houston, Texas, deciding to start a podcast of all things. But here I am. There was a couple things that happened in the last couple years that allowed me to see that solitude is not a bad thing, but being open about where you are is key to, for lack of better words, evolution. For instance, a couple years back, maybe 3 or 4 years, I had a 2006 Cadillac DTS. Bought it with my own money from hard work and just dedication. Started off at Sonic drive-through. Off of Mason Road on I-10 in Houston, Texas. Katy, Texas, rather. Depending on who you ask, Katy is not Houston, but it is what it is. Well, I had this Cadillac. Had it for a while. First car I went to college in. Everything. First experience of just being an adult with the ability to just drive wherever I wanted to go. And I can say now that I don't think I took full advantage of it, but you live and you learn. But anyway, I had this Cadillac for a long time. But it was, one of those models of Cadillacs where they had, I believe it's called a TranStar, something to where like the engine or something just was not good. Catalytic converter, something was just off with it. So I remember I was in the process of getting a new job, and in the process of doing that, my car worked great. But on the first day going into my new job, my car broke down, and I was distraught. I didn't really know what to do. And the funny thing is, it broke down. If anyone's familiar with Houston, Texas, there's like back streets to get wherever you need to go, and I'm sure it's like that in other states and cities and whatnot. But this one broke down on Eldridge, North Eldridge to be exact, north of I-10. And when it was breaking down, I made a pit stop to this park on near Patterson. So I got it to a certain part. I got it to that park, and then I kept trying to get closer and closer to where my job was, which is off of Eldridge and Westheimer, if you're familiar with Houston, Texas. But it didn't quite work, so I kept on getting it closer and closer to my first day of work. But I ended up at a funeral. Not a funeral, but yeah, I guess you could say it was a funeral. Man, my brain is going crazy right now because I can't think of the name of it. But it wasn't a funeral, but it's where a lot of headstones and everything. This sounds crazy that I cannot think of the name, but anyway, makes for an interesting story. I'm sure y'all know what I'm talking about right now. Cemetery. There we go. So yeah, it was a cemetery. So my car ends up just being kaput on a cemetery. I end up leaving my Cadillac there, and eventually I had someone come and take me to work. But the point of the story is that, man, on my first day of growing into adulthood and getting a better job and having longevity there, on my first day, it was ironic that I was in a place of where death is, or depending on where you look at it, where the start of a new life is. And again, I was put in another situation where there was just me, myself, and I. So throughout my life, I feel like I've been put in positions to where I had to be in a space where I'm comfortable with myself. I had to be alone. I had to be in a place where I was able to choose to process in a way that was more conducive to my deciding factors of choosing to, I don't know, be better, not give up. We'll put it like that. So here I am, again, choosing to do something new, something that's never been done before for me. And I'm excited about it. I'm excited. But yeah. Life continued after that. That Cadillac is no longer a part of my life, But, man, the story, man. I remember after my first couple of days of work, I decided to go and get my Cadillac and try to bring it back home, because at the same time, I was in a new apartment, right? So, just moving. I was also in a new relationship. That's another thing. But I just moved to this area by the name of Jersey Village in Houston, Texas. Greater Houston area, I guess you could say. And I remember getting back to my car and again trying to drive it little by little before my car overheats to my new apartment. And I just remember just having to stop and go. And eventually, I was able to get off. I was able to park it under a tree, off of Highway 6, at a Home Depot, and I remember leaving it there and just, in a way, releasing it, understanding it's still there, try to see if I could get it fixed and whatnot. But I was broke at the time, like literally broke, no money. I'm working and whatever, but all of that money is going to bills. All of it going to bills. And I remember getting back to my car, or trying to go back to the car, and don't know what happened to it, but my Cadillac was gone. So again, another time when I had to start from scratch. Because of that, my sister, bless her heart, my beautiful sister, Deja, you may hear this one day, so this is my perspective on the whole situation, and you've probably heard a little bit of it. But anyway, I remember having to, or just seeing that and having to make a decision in my mind at that moment. Okay, what am I going to do? How am I going to get to work that was not walking distance? What am I going to do? So I remember coming to my sister and just saying, hey, like, is there any possible way you could just drop me off at work? And I'm the type of person that goes through multiple different scenarios and try to get to the worst case scenario. And if I could, in my mind, understand the worst case scenario, and then understand that it's not as bad as it could be, I'm okay. So in that, I believe me and my sister had a conversation. She decided to take me to work before she gets to work, which is around 5 o'clock in the morning. So I have to get up, get to work before the sunrise, sit out in front of my job, wait for the doors to open at 8 o'clock. And then after 8 o'clock, me getting in at 10-ish to be able to start work. So I'm already spending my whole morning waiting to work, and then getting off at 8. Then to have my sister, who's slow at times, and doesn't show up on time, wait for her to come pick me up, and then get home probably around 9:30, and to repeat that over and over again. At the same time, being in college. Yeah, that was my life for my early 20s. That did not last for long because I knew I needed some type of source of like a vehicle. I needed something to not have to be dependent on somebody. So when I tell you I tried to get a car so fast, meanwhile, I'm entertaining and being committed to a relationship that's just blooming. And just thinking, man, I can't reveal everything that I'm going through because I don't know if this girl is going to want to stay with me. But fast forward to today, I'm getting married in less than 2 weeks. So, and it's to the same person. So, man, I tell you, it's good times. Really good times. I say all that to say, one, I've went through a lot in my life, but one thing for sure, two things for certain. I'm choosing to grow both ways. Grow deeper within me to realize the strength that I have, and growing outwardly and being able to love and cherish and respect those who come and surround me. In this podcast, I'm going to have guest visits from family to, in a week or two, my wife, relatives, her side of the family, possibly her father, her mother, her sister, the kids, well, not my kids, but her sister's kids. We'll see. we'll see how it goes, but the excitement is there. I know this isn't perfect, but it's a start. It's a start. You'll eventually hear from my fiance as well. But anyway, thank you guys for listening, and I'll see you next time.